Hi everyone, on today's video we are going to be sharing with you guys how we almost gave up. So stay tuned if you want to know what we're going to be talking about, and hopefully in it you find some lessons that will help you on your Airbnb journey. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Hey guys, I'm Zev Forrest.
I'm Melissa Forrest.
And we are short-term rental experts. We have been Airbnb superhosts 18 times for the past 5 years, and we've hosted thousands and thousands of guests, and we have a lot to share with you guys, so stay tuned, and welcome to our page if you've never visited us before.
Yes, thank you for being here, and our intention is that you just learn from the tips that we give you, the stories that we share with you, and on today's video specifically, we are going to be sharing with you guys a story on how we almost
gave up on a lead. Not a lead, yeah, on a promising home.
So pretty much if you guys follow us on Instagram and been following our journey, we just got our first really big Lux
home.
Beachfront.
Yeah, beachfront home.
Coastal home that we almost gave up on because it was 2 weeks of almost daily texts and calls and 1 hour conversations with the landlord that Zev actually, he's amazing at this, and he just was so patient with this lead, and we want to really share with you guys because we've heard so many stories of people saying like just because the first call didn't go right, they want to give up, or they're already thinking that it's not going to work. And we almost gave up because it was 2 weeks of back and forth conversations. We've heard we really wish that we took really clear notes on these conversations because we heard objections that we have never heard in 5 years of doing the rental arbitrage model. Objections that are even hard to remember because they were just like, wait, what are you even asking? But it was such a good learning experience, and just seeing how Zev here handled it and how he isolated all the objections and was able to get us 2 weeks of daily calls to a yes and getting us our first luxury property, which is just the beginning of where we are heading towards in our short-term rental journey. So let's just get right started. Take your notes, and hopefully you guys learned some valuable things on here.
So this owner that we reached out to when we first spoke, he was open to our business model of luxury vacation rentals, corporate housing, and he just had a lot of questions from the beginning. I just remember that the deal took over 2 weeks to sign. From more than 2 weeks from the first phone call to when we signed the lease, and it wasn't just 2 weeks because one of us was on vacation not getting back to the other person. It was 2 weeks of daily texting going back and forth, and every single text the landlord wanted to have a phone call and wanted to get on the phone and talk about every single little detail. I did write some of the things down that he objected to because it was kind of so much that I forgot individually which one, but some of the things he had many objections, concerns, questions, like a landlord should. And one thing you should know is that you don't want to do business in this business with a landlord on the arbitrage side with an owner that is too micromanaging. Because then they're going to be on top of you about everything, especially in the beginning phases, the beginning months of your relationship with them. They're going to be on top of you a lot. So you don't want a micromanager. But once you do this enough, or even you just have a few homes in your property, once you talk to enough landlords, you'll begin to gauge whether or not they're going to be a micromanager or whether they're just concerned on the front end about their baby.
I would say that was one of the reasons why we almost gave up after the first call, because I remember the first call and you were at your desk and I was just listening to the phone call, and it was over an hour long, and it just sounded like all the questions he was asking were going to be questions of a micromanager landlord. So that's why I was like, no. But then you got off the call and you got a different vibe. You heard more of just someone that was concerned. Obviously, he's never done this, and he was mainly concerned too because he in this neighborhood there was an Airbnb unit that was just 2 doors down of his neighborhood, and they used to have parties, and they pretty much just really brought a negative experience of Airbnb to the community. So I think that's what made him a concerned landlord. But I'm so glad you like stuck through it. But
he had many concerns. So first of all, he wanted more rent than he was asking on the property. So that was one thing that he wanted up front. He wanted to know how many days were booked a year on average, which was a little odd. I've never heard someone ask us that. Like, what was our occupancy rate that we expected for that home? Wasn't sure what his intentions were behind that. I think I know what they were, because we'll get to that in a second.
We know his intentions.
He wanted to know the number of adults and children included in our guest count for the property. He mentioned his concerns about the amount of wear and tear, which, by the way, I'll go through some of these and how I answered them, just to give you an idea of some ways you can overcome these or go around them. He wanted to know the current city ordinances and the history of the ordinances as well, just to check us, make sure we knew what we were doing. But also he wanted to be equipped with that. And I don't blame him, just to make sure that he's signing someone that knows what they're doing and is on top of it. And we're not just going to try to get out of the lease within a month or two, right? And waste his time.
I remember one thing he did. He said that he had some friends, or he knew someone that was in the business, but they were co-hosts. I think they had like a really big vacation rental management company, and he was fact checking everything we were saying with them, and then he would come back in the conversation on our next conversation and be like, I said what you said, and they agreed to the same answer. So it was a little. So this is just a lesson, really, when you call landlords and you're calling the city, really read what the ordinance is saying. Call, as we said in our previous video, call the city, really get familiar with what's going on, what's the history been with vacation rentals in that city, and also know who your your biggest competitions are, the companies, the management companies. Just really know the information behind that city, because like us, we were getting fact checked here. So
well, you also want to make sure you know the ordinances, so you're not building a house of cards and when you get all these properties and then your properties just get taken down because of the city. So that's first and foremost. Make sure you always check the city ordinances before you do anything. I would check it before you even think about whether the city you thought about is good or not. So we couldn't agree on options to extend the lease. We wanted to negotiate a certain lease structure and figure out how long of a lease we want and what the options were to extend that. He kept telling me that another party was interested right now to try to get a fire underneath us to keep us from moving this along quickly, because he told us that, basically trying to show us that there's competition. There's another couple that wants the property. Every day he would tell me that.
Well, just know he is the owner, and also he's a broker on the side. So he was really trying to broker us.
And he had other vacation rental companies looking to lease the place. He mentioned that as well, that he had other calls from other vacation rental companies. And then he was also concerned about the neighbors, because he mentioned that he grew up in that neighborhood and he knows everyone there. He's personally involved with them. He wanted complimentary. He quietly asked for complimentary stays in his property that we're going to be renting from him for our business 2 times 2 days out of the year. He wanted to stay as his own vacation in our property for that amount of time, complimentary. I think that's why he was asking what our estimated occupancy was for that unit, which was a little odd that he asked that, but it wasn't a big deal.
We said no,
and then, like Melissa mentioned, he spoke with other short-term rental operators that he said that he knew, just kind of fact check us, and he did speak to our referrals that we gave him. He spoke to them over the phone. So he was really making sure every T was crossed, every I was dotted, and after all of that, I still felt like he was just a legitimately concerned landlord. It was new to him, and he wasn't going to be a micromanager. Look, ever since we signed the lease, he hasn't talked to us once. It's been great, and he actually was already really excited to start looking for other homes and starting this relationship and partnering with us. So I guess once that lease was signed, once the negotiations were behind us, everyone kind of calmed down and settled down, and they were just like, okay, to each their own, do their thing, and let's wish everyone the best.
And again, this is just a lesson that just because the landlord is bringing up concerns or objections that are feeling rough maybe at the moment doesn't mean that it's a no. It doesn't mean that he won't be open to this business model. He just legit has concerns, and you just get to isolate those concerns and answer them accordingly.
Yeah, so should I go over some?
Yeah,
maybe?
Let's go.
Okay, so for example, he wanted to know how many days we were booked a year on average. I just gave him an average. I would say like, let's say 70%. I just gave him some a rough number, which is rough of around what we do. We do about 70 to 80% average a year. I couldn't really tell him for this market. It was a new market, so I had to kind of guesstimate it. He wanted to know the number of adults and children in our place. We told him it's 2 per bedroom. We have 2 adults per bedroom, 6 adults. If we have an infant that's coming with us, then that's fine.
Yeah, we don't run that model. I mean, there's so many different Airbnb short-term rental models. We just 2 per bedroom, so 3 bedrooms, 6 people. That's it. We don't try to max out and have extra rollaway beds or anything. That's just not our business model.
No. Then he mentioned one of his biggest concerns was obviously the wear and tear. He mentioned that for a vacation home, the wear and tear is going to be higher than a long-term tenant. And I kind of did it in a way where I didn't just straight go after that objection. I didn't address that objection straight away. I just kind of said, well, look, you know, that's funny you mentioned that because we are homeowners as well, and our long-term tenants tend to do a lot of wear and tear, surprisingly more so than our vacation rentals, because even though there's more parties going in and out of a vacation rental, they are constantly cleaned. A long-term tenant technically doesn't have to clean the place at all. They don't have to. We have to. In order to keep our business going, we have to.
Yeah. I have a question for you. So we are homeowners, but what if our viewers here don't own a home? Like, how can they overcome that objection?
They can say the same thing if they want to. They can say their friends that have homes. They hear from their experience with other homeowners. They can say that you have your mom owns a home, your dad owns a home, your brother owns a home, your friend owns a home. Your mentor owns a home. Anyone that you know could own a home. You could say my mentors, Melissa and Zev, they own a home, and they told me that their long-term renters tend to put more wear and tear and do more damage to the unit. I told them, look, if we have a home, we have to be concerned if there's a hair on the pillow. Your long-term tenant doesn't have to be concerned about that. They don't have to clean the toilet once. They don't have to scrub the walls. They don't have to do any of that work. To go to an extreme, we were discussing with a landlord taking over his home that he actually had a druggie be staying there from an insurance company that put him there because his house was being restored or something like that, and he ruined the home over the course of 12 months. There was dead rodents in the home. The filters were extremely dirty because he was smoking inside the home, and the landlord never knew. So these are things that happen. With us, the wear and tear is there from people going in and out, walking on the floors, but we constantly clean it. So I told him, look, I'm pretty surprised that you're saying the wear and tear is worse.
Right. And in part of that cleaning is quality check. We always make sure that everything is in top-notch condition, from drawers to scratches on kitchen cabinets, right? So, I mean, if anything, we fixed some of the stuff that we did find.
We actually found some certain things in his property upon us moving in that we were able to fix. Just simple minor fixes that he just wasn't aware or didn't know how to do. But these are things that we like to bring to the landlords. I actually enjoy fixing these little things and showing them that this is what we can do, so that we can build a relationship. They can trust in us, and we can work with them on more properties and bring more properties to families and vacation goers that want to have a good experience, right?
As responsible hosts that we are.
Definitely, as responsible hosts.
And you guys too, because you guys are learning from our stories and our lessons. So you guys are responsible hosts as well.
So let's see here. I'm going through them. He had other... he was concerned about the neighbors. We let him know we're concerned about the neighbors too, right? One of our first and foremost responsibilities and concerns is to take care of the neighborhood. And not only for personal reasons of our business, to make sure that it keeps going, but also because we understand that we are residential neighborhoods, and we want to make sure that these people have the right to live a quiet and peaceful life in the neighborhood that they call home, right? So we're always making sure to provide really good memories for our guests and fun and memories that the neighbors, they're not going to get upset from from that as well.
So something that you did there was you actually agreed with his concern, which is pretty much a way that you could handle these conversations when landlords are bringing up objections. You could agree with their objections. So here his concern was, oh, we're concerned about the neighbors. I don't want to disrupt them, right? Yes, Mr. Landlord, I agree as well. We also don't want to disrupt them, right? So that's just a way to smooth out the conversation as a tip.
Yeah, you're on the same page.
Yeah, we're on the same page. You're not arguing with them. The intention's never to argue with the landlord when you're in conversation with them. The intention is always just to isolate objections, agree with what they're saying, and provide a solution.
Yeah, you could say, hey, look, we've had other landlords that felt the same exact way as you, and once we've developed a relationship with them and they've seen and trusted us and what we can do and the type of guests we're bringing to the home and the type of security measures and security compliance that we have in our business, they then found that we are actually a really good host. We're not like just the classic Airbnb bad host that with a low barrier to entry that anyone can just come on board and try to make a property, but they trusted us, and now they felt that they can give us more properties too. Right.
Isn't that the feel, felt, found, right? Something like that? Feel, felt, found method. You could find it on Google, but it's pretty much you feel, wait, can you explain it?
Yeah, you let them know that you understand how they feel.
Oh yeah.
You can provide them an example of how others or how you felt the same way, and then you can bring it all together saying, but we found or they found that so-and-so was actually, it worked out well.
Yeah, the solution. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's some back and forth that we had with the landlord of this property, but now we have it all set up. Super excited to get that all set up. I can't wait to see what kind of guests that we're going to get and provide this beautiful home to. We're very excited for that, and we're always looking to improve, and we're always looking to level up.
Yes, this is a huge level up already, and we actually been wanting to step into the world of luxury big homes for some time, and we just did it, and now we're here and just so excited to share this journey with you guys. So if you guys want to see what it looks like, go to our Instagram because it came out beautiful. We went with like a Japandi style vibe, but that's for our next video. We appreciate you guys showing up and spending your time here with us, and leave us some questions in the comments if you guys have any questions or concerns or any objections that you are encountering with a landlord that you have spoken to. We will be more than happy to support you guys with that. And that's pretty much it. Share this video, make sure you subscribe, and thank you again.